Welcome to the Bite Size Fitness Show, where we talk all things fitness, nutrition, and habits, and break them down into smaller, more digestible, bite-sized pieces of content for you to enjoy. My name is Sean Bykirk, and I am your host, and in today's episode, I'm going to be giving you my 5 favorite fitness, nutrition, and health books. And the reason I'm doing this video is because there are a lot of really bad fitness and nutrition books out there. So save your money, save your energy. These ones are legit. It was tough to narrow it down to 5, but I figure all of these have a different pro, right? They have a different benefit that they're going to give you. So you can kind of sift through them and decide which one sounds like it might resonate with you the most. Okay, so number 5, this one's going to be the most popular book on the list, is Salt, Sugar, Fat. Not going to teach you a ton about nutrition or fitness, but what it does do, it gives you a behind the scenes look in the food industry, and it shows you what great lengths these food companies will do to get you hooked on their food, a lot of the politics behind it, and just how they manipulate their food to get you absolutely addicted to their products. So very interesting read. It's more entertaining than the other books because it's not as informative. It's more of a story that gets told. So although it's very fascinating, it's also sobering, and you'll get a really good idea just of how they try to kind of trick you. I don't say trick you, but get you hooked. And you'll never be able to walk into a grocery store and look at food the same because this book will keep reminding you. But very interesting read. It's very popular, so you may have read it by now. So Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Moss. Number 4 is called Fat Loss Forever. This one's by Layne Norton. If you're in the fitness industry, you've heard of Layne Norton. He specializes in like fat loss, body transformation. He's just kind of like a no BS kind of guy. So what I really appreciate about this book is he doesn't add any unnecessary chapters. It's very concise, tells you what you need to know, and he's very prescriptive, which I think a lot of people appreciate. So if you're coming into reading a book and you just want someone to kind of lead you and give you a framework in which to operate, this can help simplify that for you because there's not a lot of stuff that you have to navigate through. It can also be the downside. So the downside is a lot of what he preaches here is going to be on counting calories and macros, and there's a lot of numbers and manipulating those numbers. It's not overwhelming, but if you're not interested or if you have no desire to count calories or macros, this might not be the book for you. Okay, so Fat Loss Forever by Layne Norton. Also great for trainers, by the way. So trainers who want to help their clients out, a really good book to use. Number 3, Everything Fat Loss by Ben Carpenter. This was the most recent book I read, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's good this is probably the most overall well-balanced book out of the list when it comes to fitness specifically, because he talks about probably the most fitness out of the book, like working out. But he also talks nutrition, anything that influences fat loss he discusses. And what I really appreciate in this book is just how unbiased he seems to be. It's impossible, but I think out of anyone that I've read or heard before, it's about as unbiased as you can get. He talks about every topic. He uses research to support what he says, and he doesn't promote or discourage anything. He simply gives you the information, tells you the pros and cons, and leaves it up to you to make a decision. So I definitely appreciate that. You can just see how much hard work went into using all these research studies and not really going in with any sort of narrative. So that can also be the downside. Like I said, for the Fat Loss Forever, it's very prescriptive. This one's the exact opposite. It just gives you a ton of information, and then it kind of leaves it up to you to decide what you want to do. So I can appreciate that, but if I was going into reading a book wanting some sort of framework, you're not going to get that from this one. Okay, so number 2, we have The Hungry Brain by Stephan Guyenet. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. This book, when I first read it, blew my mind. Very different from the other books in the list here. It's very sciencey. So it's very sciencey. There's a lot of like neuroscience, how the brain works, how it impacts overeating, but not in a really boring way. So it actually it ties in really well with fitness and nutrition. So what I like about it is it discusses a lot of we say calories in, calories out, which can be super oversimplified. This book explains the complex processes that go on during that calories out, and how some people are more prone to overeating, some people are more prone to obesity, and what some of those factors are with regards to hormones, neurotransmitters, neuromodulators. I wouldn't say it's as sciencey or as advanced as I'm making it out to seem, but it's also not a book if you're brand new to nutrition or fitness. Okay, so it ties all these things together really well. I found it absolutely fascinating. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, you're gonna love this book. But if that seems like too sciencey for you, then maybe not for you. And then number 1 is Outlive by Peter Attia. So I'm a big Peter Attia fan. I think he does really good work. He's an MD, so he's been doing a lot of these studies and research himself. I think what I really like about this book is it's not just fitness and nutrition, but he talks about health in general and how fitness and nutrition can play a role. And the kind of overarching theme here, the overarching theme is going to be like longevity, how you can live longer, what are some of the things you can do. So it's not just about looking better, but also feeling better and living a healthier lifestyle. So he talks about fitness and nutrition, all this stuff, same thing from the other book, but he does it in a way that really promotes health and longevity. And even though there's a couple chapters in there that I find a little bit too sciencey, that you might not be interested, you can easily skim through them. It's a pretty big book, and I think the vast majority of the book has some really, really good information, a lot of new stuff that I learned, and I think it's the perfect balance between being very informative, where it just kind of lays out a ton of information, but also a little bit prescriptive as well. So he explains what he does with his patients, and gives you a framework that you can kind of choose what to do for yourself as well. Nothing is thrown in your face like you have to do this or you can't do this. It's just it's very direct, but also allows you to kind of take what you want out of the book. So Outlive by Peter Attia was one of those books that definitely exceeded my expectations. And if you're looking for something that is more geared towards overall health and longevity, no brainer, definitely the best book. So there you have it, guys. My top 5 books on fitness, nutrition, and health. If you have one that is not on the list, drop them in the comments below, and I'd love to check it out. I'll see you guys in the next video.